All right, we ready?
Yeah. All right.
Hello. Welcome to MVCBP E7. It's a sad day, in a lot of ways. I mean, I've also just been going through a lot personally, but this is kind of our apology for the last episode.
We are so sorry for the clusterfuck that was last episode. We are completely blindsided by really everything. I mean, I think the musical intro was good, but of all things, that motherfucker messed up our band name. He said, "Welcome to the official Maroon 5 band podcast," which, one, is not our band name. Two, it's, quite frankly, disrespectful to Maroon 5 because it sort of makes us sound like we're kind of trying to hijack what they're doing, which is not the case.
I was kind of worried we were going to get sued or something.
It opens a huge can of worms. It's
certainly not the foot I'd want to put forward with Adam.
No, not at all. Not at all. So, I mean, first off, Adam, if you're listening, we're sorry to you. We're sorry, to the rest of your crew. We're just deeply apologetic, and we promise to not let anyone hijack the podcast like fucking Lightfoot did to last episode. I'm appalled. I called Andrew Lightfoot up. To be fair, I didn't get around to listening to it. That's another thing. We should listen to these things beforehand. We should make more of a point to listen through the podcast, combing through things.
It's not like he emailed us a file and, there was no chance to review.
Well, that's fair. But, I think we were just so excited with the potential of a new direction, a new, clean, highly produced, highly professional direction that we gave too much trust, and that's a mistake I'll never make again. You can't trust some people. And that's... we learned our lesson.
To be clear, the last episode I thought was actually... what we recorded, to be clear, I thought was actually really wonderful. We talked for an hour and a half. I really kind of spilled my guts, as it were, about some of the things I was going through. And, it kind of felt like he just gave up.
He cut all of that out. There was no respect for you and your feelings. No respect for Adam and crew. I didn't really say anything personal, but I'm glad I didn't, because that would have just been hacked and slashed out.
Yeah.
The editing was atrocious. Like, we were cut off mid-sentence, so nothing made any fucking sense. We have to apologize to everyone. We have to apologize to Wolfgang Wallace, because...
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. So, I think there was a clip that was used out of context.
Completely out of context.
So, I believe I said something in the clip like, I hope Wolfgang Wallace lies dead in the street shot, and I was trying to say I hope that doesn't happen.
Right, exactly. And I think that would have been clear if that was edited appropriately, but instead we just it sounds like we were slandering another band, which is not what we want to do. We want to build bridges, not burn them. And I'm just afraid that sorry to the members of Wolfgang Wallace if you heard that. That wasn't our intent to drag you through the mud like that. We think you're great guys. Sure, yeah, we're annoyed with certain things, but that's just interpersonal, drama. We don't want to start any beef. You do your thing, we'll do our thing. If you want to do another show sometime, we're open to that.
We could do like a we could do like a beef squashing show.
What does that mean?
It's kind of like a rap thing. I don't know. I listen to
interesting.
some rap, Eminem and stuff.
Right.
And
Does anyone
for a
do
while
that?
he was beefing with the Insane Clown Posse, for instance, and
Huh.
I believe they were able to make up and kind of, well, the term that these people use is squash the beef.
Interesting. Huh. I'd be...
Although, frankly, I mean, I would kind of prefer to do a show with someone else, but a beef squashing show could be nice. I mean, we did mention Brother Oliver.
Yes,
Oliver.
Thankfully, we didn't say anything against them because, they're a lot bigger than Wolfgang Wallace, and that would have really... I mean, no offense to Wolfgang Wallace,
right.
Of course. I mean, it's just how it is. But thankfully, we praised... I wish they had... That fucker had added more of our conversation there because it was really good and insightful.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we were essentially just
in
praising...
terms of local bands...
Oh, they're tip of the top.
Absolutely number one.
Cream of the
Brother
crop,
Oliver.
tip of the top. So good. I would
is
love...
probably Randemonian.
You what?
Randemonian. Have you heard them? They're a cover band. Play at Poor Tap House a lot. They're great. They're great. Really fun.
Okay. Yeah, I think that would be a great lineup. I mean, it's cover band and cover... Do you know if they... Did they just...
Oh, I'd almost be intimidated to say anything, but I have seen them a couple times. I could try to introduce myself, maybe. Randemonium, if you are listening to this, yes, we will do a show together. We would love to do a show together. Mm-hmm. We think that y'all are really awesome. Likewise, Brother Oliver. Any other local musicians that want to kind of prove themselves, hit DM us. We're
absolutely,
our seat is always open.
Arms wide open. We're here for you. We would love to play with you guys. So yeah, all that is to say, apologies to Wolfgang Wallace for anything that was misconstrued. That was not our intent. We enjoyed our time with you. You guys rocked the... Well, I mean, I guess because it was a house show, they really literally rocked the house. Mm-hmm. I mean, we were outside, but,
if it was at a Casbah, we would have been rocking the Casbah, like that song.
Right. Oh, I'm glad we can have some lighthearted discussion with this, because...
Yeah, it's...
The tone is dark in this room. I don't know if you guys can feel it. I definitely can.
Oh, I can definitely feel it. I mean,
Well, that's another thing you cut out was your whole... Well, let's talk... I mean, that was something we were trying to get across in the last episode, was why we've kind of been on hiatus for a couple weeks, and part of that is a very, personal story that you have.
Yeah, so, I mean, yeah, I feel like I need to, speak on that, like that one's mine. So, some of you listeners might have noticed me clearing my throat a lot. I'm still having some withdrawal symptoms. I find that the only thing that's really helped me kind of get through them is 5-hour energies, they kind of coat your throat, as it were, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So, just a couple of days after our live show at Trent Triola's house, so I was downstairs, I was working on my tires, and my uncle had commissioned me my first real tire job, which was really exciting. So
big news. That's great.
So essentially his his daughter, my niece, I guess it would be, she passed away last year. She was just a kid, but there was an incident, and so his first commission was kind of for me to work on a tire tread that resembled her face.
That's beautiful.
And I thought that was really beautiful, really touching, and it was a project I was taking very seriously. But I don't know if you guys know anything about tires, but they're hard to carve. So I was just working day and night with an X-Acto, trying to get the features right on Liza. Her name was Liza. And really not having a good time with it. I was also going through a lot of personal problems and hitting the bottle, as it were. Yeah. Trying to balance it out with 5-hour energy, and which is not a good idea to mix. with alcohol, for the record.
Well, I guess it's kind of like Four Loko, but depending on how many Four Lokos you're drinking, yeah, I can see how it would
Right.
sort of become a problem.
Well, I mean, that's a good point, because, I mean, you know, by the end, I'm going to be honest, like, those last couple weeks, like, I'd wake up in the morning, I would take my 5-hour energy, and I just pour it directly into a Four Loko. So, I mean, you can do the math on that. I mean, it's 20, but...
Well, Jesus Christ, that's...
Well, I wasn't in a very good place. I think that the fallout of my relationship with... well, I don't want to dox her and say her name, but that married woman that I was seeing. I hope she's doing well. I mean, I hope she's getting divorced, of course, and reaching back out to me. But I hope she's doing well. But that hit me really hard. And, you know, nothing just seemed to be going right. So all that to say, a couple days after the show, my uncle walked downstairs. And I was literally passed out, face down. I mean, the floor is covered in rubber scraps. It's covered in Four Loko bottles. It's covered in 5-hour energies. And I'm, you know, I'm breathing, but it's you know, he described it as shallow breathing. And I wasn't doing well. I mean,
I'm sure your heart was just pounding.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I didn't remember really anything at all. Like,
I mean, to black out on caffeine, you've got to be really slamming them.
Well, I think that, you know, I have some kind of emotional issues I've been bearing, and I think I was talking to my therapist about this. I think I was kind of using alcohol as a way to kind of avoid talking about feelings, you know, like anger, right, sadness, horniness. But anyway, so I'm there fucking passed out on the ground. And I mean, I want to be very clear with my listeners, because this is a warning for anyone out there who's mixing caffeine and alcohol. I could have died. Every morning I wake up and I think, thank you to the universe for giving me another day, because if it hadn't been for my uncle finding me, I mean, whoosh, you know, no more Joseph. And so...
And no more MVCB.
No more MVCB.
I mean, gosh, this whole project would kind of be... I could do my best to carry it on, but it wouldn't have the same impact, I don't think.
Wow.
So, yeah, I'm really glad you're okay. That was really disturbing to hear. I mean, I heard about it kind of I guess it was weeks later.
Yeah, well, that kind of brings me to the second part of the story. So, you know, he ended up calling an ambulance. I got an IV. I was able to get my vitals up pretty quick. But, you know, since it was kind of a substance abuse related issue, I was actually entered into a mandatory 2-week rehab program. Of course, I wanted to reach out and say, hey, you know, we may have to delay me doing the vocals for New Love, which, you know, thank God is out now. But,
no, it's great.
You know, I wanted to reach out and say something about that, about the podcast. But, I mean, you know, I didn't even have my fucking phone. I mean, it was taken from me. And I was sitting there in rehab just thinking, God, you know, I'm here with all these fucking addicts. You know, what am I doing here? And I kind of came to realize that in many ways I was actually like these addicts. You know, I was also...
Well, yeah, I mean, you're literally in rehab.
Right. Right. So yeah, right. At first it didn't make sense, but it clicked. It clicked after a little bit. I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I was able to really connect with the psychologist who was working there, Jennifer.
Nice.
And I know what you're thinking. Oh, do you mean connect, like hook up with her? And no, I mean, she was actually a good bit older, you know, I mean, significantly, or like not my type at all. Like, she was easily 60. Well, I mean, and she was married herself.
Even if she was like, you know, whatever, your age and attractive, like I wouldn't have thought that.
Okay.
I mean, it's a professional setting. It just...
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a liability for her if she's, hooking up with these patients.
Right, and that would kind of cause a lot of issues because it would be like, I bet she would think, oh, is this really worth it?
Well, no, I don't think she would even cross that line. I would at least hope she wouldn't cross, and I would hope you wouldn't cross that line either.
Well, I didn't.
Well, that's good. That's good.
No, I mean, I didn't. I made out with one other patient, but I mean, that was it. That was all the action.
Well, I guess there are worse things. You can.
Yeah, no, it was fine. I mean, not. I wouldn't say it was like great, but I think it was fine.
Sure.
But I mean, that's as far as it went. It's just a one makeout session.
Sure. Right.
So it wasn't anything crazy.
No. Well, that's probably good as well.
And when you're going through withdrawals, I mean, the last thing you're really thinking about is shagging.
Right.
Kind of kills the libido, which is one reason why I don't recommend it. I've actually been, even since just coming back, I found my libido has gone way up from when it was when I was, abusing, caffeine and alcohol like that. So. Right.
Well, what's kind of the plan moving forward? Do you have, like, I don't quite know what the process looks like coming out.
Oh, sure. So, so I was in rehab for 2 weeks. And well, this was one thing I forgot to mention, which is kind of unfortunate. So, I don't have any health insurance because I actually recently quit my job to start the tire business.
Right, yeah.
I was trying to explain to the nurse that I did have, a couple $1,000s saved up, but it was just on Bitcoin. But they just wouldn't take it. I think it's just kind of an old school, kind of an outdated thing. So
yeah, it's bullshit that hasn't been made more widely available as a, because it is a legitimate currency. Like it's all buttoned up. In many ways, it's much, much more secure than cash. I'd say in all ways, it's much, much more secure than cash.
In my opinion, that rehab center should have been Bitcoin only. I mean, that's the future.
Sure, yeah. At some point, I think that would be good for just eliminate cash. Like there's no liability there. It's all airtight. If you're on the blockchain, then everyone knows where the money's going and where it's been, and it's just a much better system moving forward.
Now, of course, that's not what happened. So I ended up. I was worried they weren't gonna let me go because of the money, but I ended up. A nurse ended up just signing me up for Medicare. I think they thought I was a lot poorer than I was, so I ended up getting signed up for Medicare. And which was actually kind of a good thing because it was kind of a big bill, so I don't really have to worry about it that much.
Yeah.
And in a way, it kind of annoyed me how easy it was to. They just signed me up for Medicare because I just thought, it kind of sucks thinking about all the freeloaders, at this facility who are, just kind of taken from the system.
Well,
so,
I mean, I don't know if that's the best way to look at it. I mean, after all,
because I would have gladly paid at least, a bit to be there.
Well, yeah, sure, but I mean, the fact of the matter is you didn't, so.
Right, so I guess in a way, I really can't blame them. I mean, some of the other patients might have been tied up in Bitcoin as well.
Right, exactly. I think that's kind of a better way of looking at it instead of just being like, oh, these miserable like it's just,
No, some of the other patients were pretty fun, actually.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, they're people.
I mean, we played some card games,
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah.
In a way, it was nice being in rehab, I didn't have to worry about tires, which, by the way, I mean, it breaks my heart to say this, but I think I'm going to be retiring the tire enterprise. I think it was, I talked to my uncle, and I think it, I want to resurrect it at some point because it is something I'm interested in, but, right now I'm really just trying to focus on, my recovery.
Yeah, that's important.
That's something we're kind of putting on ice.
Well, that gives you more time to work on MVCB stuff, which is great.
By the way, speaking of which, so actually, I talked to Craig,
Jesus Christ.
and
What's Craig up to these days?
well, he's doing pretty well. I mean, you know him. He's a crazy guy. I mean,
Yeah.
he was up in Miami for a little bit. God knows what he was getting into.
Oh, I'm sure nothing good.
He got all right, but
Craig.
yeah, I was talking to Craig the other day, and he's gonna actually help me record some original music. You know, I kind of have been reflecting a lot on kind of my life, so that'll be a really exciting project. I'll have some time to work on. I'm not sure what the band name's gonna be yet. It might just put it out under my own name, but maybe a band name like, maybe Tears is one thing we talked about.
Tears is that.
I mean,
that
Craig thought it was dumb, but I kind of like that one.
Well, I think it's a great band. I think
Good.
Tears is a fantastic. I mean, fuck Craig and whatever he thinks. I mean, Tears is a great band name. I think you should go with it. Absolutely. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Well, that's very validating to hear.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. That's a good use of time. I found, I guess I should say, this is kind of an announcement to anyone out there. I'm sober. I'm not
Wow. Congratulations.
drinking anymore. So this will be, I guess if you count the rehab stint. Well, it's been a while. I think it's been almost a month. I'd have to count the days since I've had even one drink of alcohol. And
Wow. That's great. That's really good.
I wish that I could say that I felt a lot better physically. So far, like, my heart's still been racing. My throat's been kind of itchy. I just feel, like, really energetic all the time. A lot of trouble sleeping.
Well, are you still
Really
on-
tired in the mornings. Really, really tired in the mornings. Like,
Yeah.
barely get out of bed. So I've been kind of using, 5-hour energy as kind of a tool in my path to recovery. So, that's really been helping me out because, it's just really hard physically. So I've been doing maybe 10 a day of those, keeping it at about 10 to 15 because, obviously, I want to... Well, I was drinking, and that's something that the doctors kind of explained to me a lot.
No. I think drinking or not, like if cutting back in your words is 10 to 15, 5 hours. Look, you realize 5 times 10, that's 50 hours.
Sure.
Like most people aren't even awake during the whole 24 hours in a day.
Sure.
So like at the most, you're doing 5-hour energy drinks a day, and that'll cover you the whole 24 hours. And even that's overkill because you're not even awake that long. So, dude, if you're cutting back as 10 to 15,
Well, I feel like I'm
how many were you doing before?
getting lectured by my mom or something. I want to be very clear.
Well, don't
5-hour
you read
energy.
the warning label?
They sell it at the gas station. It can't be that bad for you.
Well, they sell beer and cigarettes at the gas station.
That's true.
And on cigarettes, they have, causes, Surgeon General warning, whatever.
Well, they don't have that in the 5-hour energies. So,
Well, I'm sure
I'm
they have some
exaggerating. I
sort of
said
thing.
10 to 15. It's probably more like 8 to 12.
Jesus Christ.
So,
But 10 is about the average.
well, I don't really appreciate getting grilled. I don't think you really understand how difficult
Well, look,
it is
you're
going through
saying
these kind of
you're having
withdrawals.
trouble going to sleep. You say you're super energetic all the time. You say that your heart is racing. These are things that caffeine does to you.
Well, I also said I'm really tired in the morning, so that's kind of...
Well, yeah, because you're not sleeping at all.
Well, I just don't think you would really... I think if you wouldn't really understand unless you went through, something similar yourself. It's kind of like losing your virginity. You just don't get it until it happens.
I'm not quite sure I understand the
like,
analogy.
Going through rehab and having that kind of... that hit hard.
That was absolutely, and that can't be understated. That was
a low point for me personally as a man, and when I'm supposed to go out of that and just excuse me, I'm supposed to go out of that and just excuse me, I'm burping a little bit. I was eating before I got here.
That's
But that's not to take away from the gravity of the moment, because it is extremely serious. So 5-hour energy, I'll admit it, it's a little bit of a crutch for me right now. And I think that's okay. It's kind of like, well,
we all have vices.
Well, we all have vices.
Yeah, and that's important.
We all have vices.
Yeah, right.
And so, like, I think that without it, I would really be, I think I'd be depressed. I'd feel kind of like a piece of shit. But with it, I find that really, when I take it, like, all these negative thoughts just go away. And I can just focus on what I need to do. Which right now I'm mostly working on some new songs, some new lyrics. And
for tears, you're saying?
What'd you say?
For tears?
For tears.
Nice.
I mean, I'm working on some MVCB stuff too.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Of course.
Yeah.
But, working on some new material for tears. Gotten into day trading a little bit.
Nice.
I was hard to get my money out of Bitcoin, actually. I'm kind of struggling with that one. But my uncle has been supplying me with some money, so I've been using some of his to, kind of prove myself as a businessman. And I'm still staying at his place. So I'm very grateful for him. But anyway, what am I even saying at this point? I'm doing well. I'm doing very well considering. And, I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, like, when I was in the hospital, I didn't even get one fucking visitor. I mean, the whole 2 weeks. I mean, visitation hour every day. Well, I think that my uncle was a little triggered because, his family kind of has a history of alcoholism. So he's never really looked me in the eye the same way before. I mean, he's been nice. But, and then, I was kind of thinking you or Craig would come by and...
Well, you cannot count on Craig. I mean, I've learned that the hard way many times. But as far as me goes, I mean, I think, part of the time I didn't realize you were in rehab.
Sure.
Then the other part of the time, I just, it just didn't really work with my schedule. I mean, like, the visitation hours are kind of weird. And, I mean, like, there were 1 or 2 that I could have gone over a lunch break. But, like...
Well, I mean, it's from 1 to 2 p.m., so...
Yeah, right.
I kind of was thinking maybe you could take a late lunch. I mean, it was also on that Saturday.
Well, I mean, I would have liked to.
And Sunday.
Yeah, but, I mean, I just had a few things going on that I need to work. I mean, I'm still kind of moving out of my apartment, getting settled in,
Sure.
So that's been no easy feat, really. Especially because I'm kind of doing that all alone. I mean, no one's really been helping me with that either. So I think in some ways it's like a sort of similar struggle. And I think it sort of... I think we kind of both needed that time separately to sort of focus on... kind of to grow individually. Like, you know how sometimes in relationships, like, you take a break... Like, with the understanding, we're probably going to get back together. Yeah. So you take a break, and it's like, we need to, work on ourselves a little bit more before we come back together as a couple. And that's kind of the how I like to see that time period is like, you in rehab working on yourself, me moving out of the apartment, working on myself, and
I don't
growing
think they're really
individually.
Quite the same. I mean, it's kind of like...
Well, it's not a perfect analogy, but I think there are... There are a few.
I just think I would have really fucking appreciated it if, one goddamn person came and visited me. I mean,
So your uncle didn't even?
No, he didn't. My parents were on a cruise, so they didn't come down. Me and my sister don't really talk that much anymore. I just would have been happy to see one goddamn person. I mean, by the second week, I'm like, if fucking Helen comes in, I'm gonna be happy. Even if she's bringing her goddamn mom. I mean, that's how low it was.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, you just really start to feel like there's no one left in this world like this. And I ended up kind of talking about that feeling to Kate, who was another patient there, and we ended up making out. But I mean, after that, things got kind of weird. She started to cry, Well, there wasn't much of a future, so I mean that really just made me feel even more alone.
Sure. Yeah. No, that.
I mean, I'm tearing up a little bit just thinking about it because I mean, I don't know if you ever heard the song. I believe it's called "Lonely Day."
By who?
I believe it's by System of a Down. I mean, that's what it was like in there. It was a lonely day.
Yeah.
Every day, it was lonely.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. It sounds like it's a pretty isolated environment overall, and I mean, since then I've been having to go to therapy weekly. That's kind of supposed to be required. I was given some medication, which thank God I'm not taking. And wait, what? Why aren't you taking the medication?
Well, I don't want to get into a whole thing with you, but I mean, let's just say that I have everything I need buttoned up, and I mean my therapy sessions.
Well, what do you mean
the guy
you have
is so
everything you need?
fucking boring. I mean, those guys that, they have like fucking glasses, and everything's fucking about my childhood, about just random shit. It's very boring. It's very dull. I've and I don't trust people like that. So, his name is Abel, and I've just been lying. I've been telling him a lot of lies, and it's starting to catch up to me because I think some of them are contradictory. It's hard for me to remember because I'm very scatterbrained these days. But at first I think I told him I was an orphan, but then I think I was talking about like my mom the other day. So it's a nightmare. I mean, honestly, it should be illegal. I mean, it's basically state mandated torture. I mean, he's nowhere near as kind as Jennifer. I mean, I felt like I could really talk to Jennifer, and let's just say it's been a rough time. I find the only way that I can really sleep at night is by taking 2 5-hour energies right after each other, and I just black out.
Wait, what are you talking about? That's the opposite of a preference. Look, if you took 2 shots of whiskey, that would literally be better for you to sleep than 2 5-hour energies.
Well,
you're doing the exact opposite. You're telling your body, all right, time to get cranking.
Well, I mean, it works. I just black out. I mean, I'm tired in the morning, sure, but I mean, it's either that or, stay up all night with my thoughts. And frankly,
what you were saying,
that's not much of an option. So.
You have everything.
I just think you're really fucking judging me a lot.
I'm not judging.
I didn't tell you how to move apartments.
You're just
I didn't
not
say, Jesus Christ, man, why don't you put your fucking socks in the other bag?
You weren't there to help me move my apartment, so you couldn't have done this. And like anytime I tried to ask, "Ooh, hey, are you available?" It was just. Well, I mean, part of the time you were in rehab, admittedly, so you couldn't have helped. And that's not your fault. But with this situation, like, I'm annoyed because it seems like there's a bunch of things that, like, you have medication you should be taking. You have a psychiatrist, someone to talk to, and you're lying to him the whole time. It just doesn't make any sense. And you were in the rehab partially for 5-hour energy, but you're still doing 10 to 15 a day?
8 to 12. And I mean...
But either way, that's
listen,
a lot.
let's just... The focus of this podcast is not supposed to be... This isn't the critiquing Joseph podcast.
No, that's
okay?
true. That's true.
This is the Moon 5 cover band podcast. And frankly, I didn't want to say anything to you, but frankly, I think that you're kind of been falling off. I mean,
what do you
feel
mean?
like your dedication to this project has really been slipping. I mean, now that I'm not working, it's like every morning I text you, oh, hey, you want to maybe jam or something? And you're always at fucking work.
Well, yeah, because I'm at work. It's not like you're texting me on a Saturday like, hey, do you want to jam? And I'm like, oh, no, sorry, I'm at work, wink, wink, not.
The point that I'm making is that it feels like I've made a lot of sacrifices for this band. I mean, and what do it just feels like you're so focused on being a graphic designer that you just really, it's like you can't
Well, that's what I get paid for. That's how I make...
Well, wouldn't you rather be getting paid for this? I mean, where's your
I would, but now there's no money.
We should be making T-shirts. I mean, we should be making it more of a business. You know, we should be emailing some, you know, record labels. And, you know, that's kind of some of the stuff I've been dedicating my time to, is just like, how can I make this work for me, you know, financially? Because I just don't want to be leeching off of my uncle. And, you know, it just felt like a lot of things really became clear for me when I went into rehab, you know. And one thing that became clear is that you can't rely on anyone except for yourself. And I know that sounds harsh, but I think it's true. I actually got that tattooed. You know, it's pretty high up in the thigh, so I mean, you're not likely to see it. But you know, that was kind of a turning point for me, because I felt like no one gets me. You know, that's how I felt just my whole life. Is that no one really gets me, and you know, this band is no exception. And you know, I just want to just feel good, you know? I just want to feel good, you know? When you did that live show, you know, I really did feel good. And I just wish I could get back to that. Like, when I close my eyes and I think about, you know, one of the happiest I've ever been in my entire fucking life. And I hear the crickets. We're at Trent Triola's house, and, you know, we're playing Animals.
I'm just kind of thinking about it.
I just really wish that we could just get back to a place where we could do that kind of thing, you know, where we could just, you know, we could just have fun, you know, just, and I just feel like everything's just falling apart for me these days, and I'm really not sure, you know. I'm trying to write these songs, and I think they could really speak to an audience, you know, and I just, you know, I wanna see MVCBP's name, you know, just, I wanna see him up in lights, and I wanna shake hands with Adam Levine. I wanna feel his warm hand in mine. And I just want him to look me in the eyes and say, "Hey man, good job. You know, good job." That's what I want to hear. And I just think I need to really be focused and be, you know, just cautious about my time. And I'm just trying to, you know, I feel like I'm tired all the time, but I'm trying to keep my energy up. I'm trying to stay focused. I have goals. You know, you know, they say the hardest part is knowing what you want in life, you know? And I know what I want in life. You know, I'm over, you know, dating. Over alcohol. You know, I'm over pretty much everything. But I'm not over MVCB. I'm not over MVCB. I think that's gonna agree. I think when I think about the future, that looms large. That looms really large. So honestly, I'm sorry for getting emotional, but
no, I think that is good, and this is cathartic, and this is really, again, I think that just kind of, I do think that we've faced a lot of adversity over the past couple of weeks. I mean, me moving out of my apartment, you going to rehab, you know, us trusting someone. You know, fuck you, DJ Lightfoot, Andrew, if that's even your real name. I mean, I felt betrayed. But we can't lose sight of you know, the goal that we set out with this project.
It's the most important thing.
Yes, and I mean, no matter how many times that you and I get in an argument, or, you know, get in a little tiff, or, you know, tussy, if you will, I always feel like we come back out on top. And that's, absolutely, I think that's beautiful. That is something that a lot of people do not have. And look, you know, I'm going to come out and admit it. Like, yeah, sure. Maybe I could have recorded some more, preemptively recorded New Love before you did the vocals. Yeah, I was kind of making excuses. I'll admit that. I'm coming clean,
Well, I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I really do think you need to own up when you do something wrong. And here I am owning up.
Hey, brother. That means a lot.
I'm glad. And all this time we started out this episode apologizing to various people outside of this group. We apologized to fans. We apologized to Wolfgang Wallace. We didn't have to apologize to Brother Oliver because we didn't say anything about it. We apologized to Adam and crew. But you know what? I specifically did not apologize to you. And I think that's the real elephant in the room is, what is literally in this room right here with you and I is the white elephant. And that white elephant is the apology that I owe to you.
Well, when I came out of
hang on, I'm sorry, I'm still apologizing. So, with that said, I apologize to you. One, I should have just taken a late lunch. One fucking day. One goddamn day. And come visit you in rehab. And if I'm being honest, I was kind of scared to see you in that state. But you know what? Fuck me for not doing it. I should have grown a pair and just gone out and said, hey, buddy, how you doing? But I didn't. So I apologize for that. And I apologize to you for not, keeping up with this project better. I have fallen off. I've gotten too busy with work, which, yeah, to your point, it's what makes my money. But I would much rather be making money and making a name for myself and making a legacy off of this project, proclaiming the words of Adam and crew to the world, and sharing what we have found so special with other people. So with that, I apologize.
That was beautiful. I'm tearing up. I think this time next year, I think the world is going to know what MVCB is.
I certainly hope
and
so.
What MVCBP is.
I certainly hope so.
And, I feel like I have an apology due to, I really shouldn't have gone to rehab. It was really a waste of fucking time. That was time I should have been putting towards the band. I should have been putting towards, tears. And it wasn't, I was just locked in an institution, like rat in a cage, if you know that song.
I love that song.
It's a great song.
It's a great song.
And, instead I should have held it together better. I know I have a lot of emotional issues and sometimes that gets in the way of band stuff, but I think that we'll kind of find as soon as we become successful, those are going to be gone. Mm-hmm. Those are just going to vanish. Because, that's really what my heart and my spirit yearns for is success, is a future for MVCB. And so I feel super inspired. I want to just...
Oh, I want to record shit right now.
Yeah.
We can't. We only have one song left. But and then the next one we're doing is all that is to say, I feel emotionally empowered right now to...
I feel like we could even get a head start in the commentary album. That's how hyped up I wouldn't want to release it, to be clear, before.
Well, no.
I'm just saying, that's how hyped up I feel.
Look, if you want to stop this not right now, we'll wrap this up, obviously.
Right.
But if we want to stop this, after we're done talking and wrapping things up, and then jump straight to the first track of the commentary album and just start rolling.
Yeah. So that sounds fucking great. I'm just going to grab a 5-hour energy from my car, be right back in. Let's pop that shit off. Let's just, bam, let's really practice that first track. I think it's going to feel great embodying, Adam and the other people in the commentary track.
Right. Well, I think it's just one other guy, and I forget what his name is. Is he a producer? Is he a...
We need to look into that.
Is he the other band member?
He's not Adam, but we need to look into
right.
that. But yeah, that sounds great. We'll just say a quick goodbye.
Yeah.
Thank you to.
Well, thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
I know this was
we do it for the fans.
Yeah, this was a bit of an emotional roller coaster, but it was needed. It was very necessary, especially after, I mean, we don't need to keep bringing him up. Again, we apologize. Thank you for forgiving us. I mean, I'm assuming we're forgiven.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I would certainly hope so.
I would.
Wheel fans, at least.
So yeah, that's just thanks for hanging with us. We've had a lot of peaks and valleys on this project, as you guys have experienced secondhand. We're dealing with our own emotional shit. Thanks for staying along for the ride and for your full support. Did you want to say anything?
I just wanted to say thanks for the fans, and most of all, thank you, Adam Levine.
Mm-hmm.
That's really, I mean, that's it. Thank you, Adam Levine.
Mm-hmm.
You changed my life. You changed a lot of people's lives, and if I can die knowing I've been 1/10 the man that you have, then I'll be worth it. So, yeah, I mean, let me just grab that 5-hour energy from my car, and well, actually, let's go out, with a thank you MVCBPFs, because they deserve it.
Well, that's one good thing that came out of that podcast.
That is the one good thing.
That will carry on. Absolutely.
That's gonna save that day.
All right, we'll count down. 3, 2, 1.
Thank you, MVCBPFs.
We love you very much.
Yeah.
Peace out. While you're at it, actually, might as well grab me a 5-hour energy as well.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Rice.
All right. Signing off.
MVCB out.
That was cool. We should do that more often.